The Tantrum Jar, Part 8 of the Jar series, written by Liberty Barnes. Make sure to go support the author in this community because we love... What did I just say? Make sure to go support the author because we love authors in this community. There we go. I'm like so rusty at this. This is so sad. I didn't want to get to this point, but here we are. Anyways, also, side note, you may be seeing less and less Tom Holland on the channel after I finish up these 2 series because I don't have a crush on him anymore and I don't tend to read his fanfiction. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I think I saw him with Zendaya and I was like, that is a really good couple. I'm really happy for them, and my feelings just went poof. They turned into admiration. I love him, but like platonically now. Though if he did show up on my doorstep and was like, fictional dreamer, will you marry me? I'd be like, take me to dinner first, but heck yeah. Anyways. Let's hop into this, the Tantrum Jar. So Millie's probably going to throw a tantrum, the Holland house is going to be shaken up, and then everything will be happy at the end. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's see if my predictions are correct. Let the story begin.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Eternal Flames. How can I help you? The girl at the counter couldn't be more than 20 years old, shoulder-length pink hair bouncing excitedly as she spoke. Hi, my daughter just started here. It's her first lesson. He answered just as kindly, while the little girl jumped up and down from her place next to Tom a few feet back. Oh, wonderful. Do you have the name of the instructor? Kate Blanchett. Kate. Her ocean blue eyes skimmed over the stack of papers, fingers rummaging until she found what she was looking for. Here it is! Kate Blanchett, 3 o'clock class. What's your daughter's name? Millicent Rose? Her lips moved inaudibly as she read through the list, fringe falling in front of her eyes when she bowed her head. She jumped up a bit when she found it, obviously proud of herself, and took her pen, ticking the name off the list. Okay, you're all set. Go into the hallway, first door on your left, you can't miss it. Thank you. Noah, you echoed, and she smiled at you. Thank you for your help. Have a nice day. You too. Ollie! Millie! The 2 children hugged each other, and you and Tom smiled, happy that your daughter had a friend to keep her company. A tall blonde woman in ballet clothing came towards you, moving so elegantly it seemed as if she was floating. Hello, you must be little Millie's parents. My name's Kate. We talked on the phone? You both shook her hand and Tom answered her.
Yeah, that's us. This is a beautiful establishment.
She chuckled bashfully as her eyes skimmed the room. I wish I could take credit for it, but I'm only an instructor here. Millie seems quite excited to start, and she learns fast. You look over to where Millie was copying Ollie's movements over and over again, moving from first position to second, third, fourth, and fifth, clumsily at first, but getting better the more they did it.
She's very determined, that's for sure.
Tom nodded with a proud smile on his face and squeezed your hand before answering the blonde.
She was quite excited when she learned that I used to do ballet. I had to promise her we'd dance together once she was better at it, so she wants to move things along.
Well, I've learned that excitement makes for a good motivator, so I'm positive she'll fit in just fine. Her assistant rang the little bell, signaling the beginning of the lesson, and she excused herself to start teaching. You and Tom had to leave the room since parents weren't allowed to watch in on the lessons. Some kids felt uncomfortable under scrutinizing glares, and some adults could be very mean. For that reason, you 2 sat on one of the couches in the waiting room. You pulled out the book you'd been reading and opened it, taking away the bookmark and leaning against Tom's chest. You read the book silently, Tom tapping your thigh gently once he was done with the page so you knew when to turn it. The lessons went by faster than you were expecting, and you were brought out of your little bubble an hour and a half later by the children's excited giggles as they sauntered out of the room. You put your book back in your bag and straightened up, waiting for Millie to get out. Except she didn't.
Take a look? Tom asked.
My thoughts exactly. You got up and walked over to the dance room, Tom's hand unconsciously moving towards the gun hidden behind his coat. Really?
Really.
As soon as she saw you, Millie bounded over to you, jumping in Tom's arms and pulling on your coat until you were both as close to her as can be.
Miss Kate says that if I keep practicing, I could be a real ballerina.
The aforementioned blonde had her arms in front of her, arms forming a circle with only the tips of her fingers touching. Your daughter is one of the best students I've had for years. If I didn't know any better, I'd say she's been doing this for as long as my Oliver. You preened at that, and Tom smiled so bright that it felt as if the sun had taken residency in him. Good job, Angel. I'm so proud of you. She seemed to brighten up even more at the praise, and you kissed her cheek in silent approval before turning back to the instructor. Thank you so much, Miss Blanchett. I'm very glad she found what she loves. Millie's a natural. I'm sure she'll achieve great things if she keeps going. And she and Ollie seem to get along really well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were chosen to do duets in the future. The dancing styles they're developing are similar and complement each other well. I'm glad to hear she and your son are such good friends. She nodded at you, and you said your goodbyes, carrying her out of the studio. Bye, Noah. She waved back at the young girl on her way out, receiving an excited wave back. Mommy, did you see Noah's hair? It's pink. It's so pretty. I want to have pink hair too. You shook your head amusingly and kissed her cheek. We'll see when you're older, okay? Okay. Celebratory ice cream? With chocolate fudge and little sprinkles? Whatever you want, Rosie. Yay! You'll see. Miss Kate is super duper nice. And the other kids too. And there's a lady at the counter that knows my name and has pink hair and lots of pretty earrings and even one of those earrings, but it's for your nose and it's so pretty. Really? Has kept the conversation going. His niece's excitement was contagious and he didn't want her to stop bouncing like she was now. She's really nice too. She always smiles at me when I go there. It was the second week of ballet, third lesson overall, and both Tom and you were busy, so Harrison volunteered to take her to class, quite excited to spend more time with the little one and get back his spot of favorite uncle. He opened the door to the studio and Millie bounced to the desk, where a girl matching Millie's description exactly was sitting, staring at some papers. Hi, Noah. Upon hearing her name, the girl lifted her head and smiled brightly at the brunette, making Harrison's breath stutter for a moment. Millie, it's good to see you again. She rolled her chair enough so she was no longer behind the desk and hugged the little girl tightly, while the blonde tried to gather his thoughts into something more coherent and appropriate than, "Oh, please marry me." Look, this is my Uncle Has. She lifted her eyes and smiled at him, straightening up in her chair. So you're the famous Uncle Has. She talks very highly of you. Always tells me you're her favorite uncle. He ducked his head bashfully, not trusting his voice to come out smooth. Anyway, the lesson will be starting any minute, so why don't you go get ready, and your uncle can wait here for you. Okay. Bye, Uncle Has. See you later. See you later, Mills. Have a nice lesson. He watched with a smile as she bounded over to the studio and sat down on one of the chairs across from who he deemed would become his future wife. He took out his phone, deciding to play some games to pass the time. Of course, he didn't want to seem childish, so he occasionally frowned at it and tapped his fingers randomly as if he was texting someone very important. Was it working? Probably not. Did it make him feel better about himself? A little. He kept sparing glances at the object of his affection when she wasn't looking, unaware at the fact that she was doing the exact same thing until the doors opened and he was brought out of his love-induced trance by the children's excited screams. Did you have fun, Mills? He asked as she came up to him, latching onto his hand with a big smile on her face. Yeah, Miss Kate said we'll be learning how to do pirouettes next week. I'll be able to spin like Daddy does. Really? That's awesome! He said excitedly and got ready to leave the building when Millie pulled him towards the desk. Bye, Noah. She gave her a big hug and Harrison added another mental picture to his "what to do after I marry her" folder. It wasn't too soon to start thinking about kids, was it? It was nice to meet you. She extended her hand and he shook it,
trying his best to ignore the spark he felt in favor of answering her.
Likewise.
One word without stuttering or blushing like a schoolgirl? Point for him!
She smiled brightly at him, and it wasn't until he was in the car that he realized she had given him a little pink post-it note. You're cute when you blush. Call me XX.
Good afternoon, Noah.
Hey, Tom. Hi, Millie. Hi. One lesson to go until you learn to do pirouettes. Are you excited? She asked, and the little girl practically vibrated in her spot. So excited! You're gonna be brilliant at it. I just know it. Thanks, Noah. See you later. Bye, Daddy.
Be good, Angel.
He turned back to the girl and sat on the chair in front of her, resting his elbows on the desk with a smirk on his face.
Haz says hi, by the way.
She blushes and smiles bashfully, turning back towards the computer.
So, what's going on between you two?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, come on. He won't tell me anything. All I know is that he'll be out all day Saturday.
Nothing.
Are you going out on Saturday? Where are you going? Is it your first or second date?
Still nothing. Only a poorly concealed smile.
Talk or else.
Or else what? Unlike what you want people to believe, you're a giant teddy bear.
I don't know if we can be friends after all. You're already sassing me way too much.
Deal with it, hon. 'Cause if things go my way, you'll be the best man at our wedding, and your daughter will be carrying our rings. He smirked and leaned back on his chair, while Noah paused, realizing what she said. Fuck.
Whoever said you needed torture to get the truth out of people has never met me.
And from the glare she just threw his way, Tom was sure that his best friend was in good hands. Are you sure this is a good idea? You asked as you put on your shoes, your face showing quite a bit of worry.
It'll be fine. The boys will look after Millie, they'll have loads of fun, and we only have to socialize for about 3 hours before it's socially acceptable for us to leave,
Tom said from the doorway as he looked you up and down. The vanity was a right mess from your makeup, and the closet was no longer organized by color like he usually kept it, since you couldn't decide on what to wear. But you looked gorgeous as always, and he felt proud to be able to call you his. You furrowed your brows a few seconds more, but eventually nodded. You understood that dinners like these were important, and to be seen with Tom would send a message.
She's mine. Don't mess with her.
But still, you didn't like leaving your daughter home alone. Well, with the boys.
But still.
Why can't I go with you? Millie asked from her place in Sam's arms when you said goodbye to her. 'Cause it's gonna be super boring where we're going. But you'll have so much fun with your uncles, you said excitedly in hopes that she would believe you and at least try to have fun. You'll be back to tuck me in?
Of course we will, Angel.
Promise? Promise. You both kissed her forehead and waved as you left, ready to go to your dinner and leave her in the care of the 3 boys waving back.
Wanna play Uno?
No, thank you. She was sitting on the living room floor, pouting while she drew abstract shapes and lines in her paper. What worried the boys, though, was that she was using crayons. Plain crayons. And only the black, brown, and dark red ones. The ones she liked the least. Not a hint of brightness. Not a single speck of glitter.
What about a movie? We can watch Moana.
No, thank you. Those were the only words she said the whole night.
Do you want to eat then? I made fish sticks with mashed potatoes, your favorite.
No, thank you. The paper was starting to become darker by the second, her face void of any emotion as she poured all she was feeling into the white sheet. The boys shared a worried look, not knowing what else they could say or do.
Ready to go?
Tom asked you as he said goodbye to one of his associates, nuzzling your cheek with his nose. Yeah, let's go home. I miss our little girl.
Me too.
He locked his fingers with yours and pulled you to the entrance, hugging you close and swaying gently to the music still coming from the inside while the valet searched for the car. The valet arrived a couple of minutes later and handed them their keys, thanking Tom for the hefty tip while you got in the car.
Shit, Tom cursed when the car sputtered to a stop.
Did you forget to fill up the tank?
I asked one of the guys to do it, but they must have forgotten.
He took a deep breath and took out his phone, calling someone to get him a jug of gas. Just enough to drive to the nearest gas station, but given that they were almost an hour away, it would take some time.
Wanna call Millie?
Yeah, let's do that.
Mills, look! Daddy's calling!
Her head snapped up from the table where dozens of the same drawing lay and smiled for the first time in the whole night, running to the couch where Harry was holding out the phone to her.
Hi, Daddy!
She held the phone close to her ear, smiling once she heard both her parents' voices coming through the speaker.
Hey, Angel.
Are you almost home?
We're gonna be a little longer than we thought, sweetie. The car isn't working, so we won't be there in time for bedtime, but your uncles will read you a bedtime story and will give you a kiss as soon as we get back, okay?
Her smile was wiped from her face immediately.
Okay. See you tomorrow then.
She didn't even hear the rest, just thrusted the phone into Sam's hand. She packed up her supplies so she could go back to her room.
Want me to read you a story?
Has brushed the curls back from her forehead, heartbroken that his niece was no longer smiling as she always did.
Oh, thank you.
Just want to sleep?
She nodded and closed her eyes.
Okay then. Love you, Millie doll. Sleep tight.
Good night. Has your mommy ever left you alone at the home with someone else?
She asked Ollie as she did her warm-ups with him. They were always partners.
What do you mean? Well, like if she goes to a party and you stay home with your uncles or something.
He frowned a bit and shook his head.
No, Mama always says she loves me too much to ever leave me alone. I always go with her to the parties. Even if the parties are boring? Yeah, she makes them fun for me.
Millie frowned and kept doing her warm-ups, blood slowly starting to boil at the realization that her parents just don't love her as much as Ollie's mom did. She did not get a single step right that day, even though everyone else in the class could perform a decent pirouette by the end of the hour. Millie, pick up your bag and go put it in the laundry room, please. She ignored you and stomped to her room, running when she realized you were following her and locking the door behind her. You cursed under your breath for forgetting to take away the key to her room and opened the spare room, your old room, so you could go through the bathroom and into her room. Millie, stop drawing and go put away your dance clothes.
No.
It wasn't a question, it was an order.
No.
Millicent Rose, get down from that chair and do as I tell you right now.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Do it yourself.
You were fuming by now, but she only kept going.
You left me alone while you and Daddy went to have fun, and you didn't even come back to read me a bedtime story, even though you promised.
That wasn't our fault and you know it. The party was for grown-ups, so we couldn't take you.
I don't care. Get out of my room.
Okay, you know what? I've had enough. 1 line in the tantrum jar. That means no more drawing for the rest of the day.
Doesn't matter. I'm still not picking up the bag.
2 lines?
Your jars are stupid.
3 lines?
You're stupid, and Daddy's stupid, and everything's stupid.
That's it. No drawing, no TV, and no playing outside for the rest of the week. That means no movie night either, Missy. And you're sleeping in the guest room. No more pretty pink bed and star nightlights. Just a plain room and a normal nightlight for you. You pulled her out of her room and into the guest bedroom, locking the doors behind you so she didn't have access to any of it. I'll be choosing your clothes from now on. You stomped out of the room and opened the door, but her voice reached you just before you slammed it closed.
I hate you. I wish you were my mommy.
The air in the car was tense, with no words being uttered by either of you. Nothing had changed since your fight 3 days ago.
You were still mad, Millie was still being a brat, and no one in the house knew how to act. You were driving her to dance class today, the first time she got out of her temporary room for something other than eating, and the longest you've spent in a room alone since the fight. Noah could feel the tension from a mile away as soon as you entered. Millie wasn't smiling, you weren't smiling, and the only greeting she had was a small hello. No hugs, no kisses, no little drawings to be added to her rapidly growing collection. The young brunette went straight to the dance room, and you sat down on one of the chairs, taking out a book and reading it. Well, more like looking at it, since your eyes seem to be skimming over the same passage for the 4th time now. Your leg bouncing nervously on the floor next to you, and although Noah's never believed in auras or anything of the sort, she was pretty sure she could see a black cloud looming over your head.
Noah?
Kate's assistant called to her, leaning into the doorway.
The stereo isn't working for some reason. Can you come take a look, please?
She capped her pen and threw it on the mess that was her desk, muttering about the stupid archaic stereo all the way there. Meanwhile, you were ready to burn your book and stomp on the ashes. You had read the same sentence for the 16th time, the words still not registering from how busy your brain was. You felt your phone vibrate in your pocket and took it out, opening the messaging app.
Come home fast. Something happened to Tom and he needs you there. I'm on my way and I'll stop at the studio so Millie can come with me after. Don't worry about her. Hurry back.
Your heart almost stopped as you read Haz's text, worry overcoming you as you thought about all the gruesome ways Tom could be hurt. You knew better than to leave Noah a note. She'd never see it among the mess, so you sent her a text, knowing that she checks her phone every 3 seconds. You had never been so glad that you and Noah became friends. There was an emergency at home, so I have to go. Haz will pick Millie up, XX, star. You all but ran to your car, pushing the pedal down as fast as it could go, probably breaking a few laws by how fast you were going, not that you cared. Tom needed you. That's the only thing that mattered. The house was full of heavily armed people going in and out, multiple cars parked outside that you'd never seen before. You entered the house and followed the voices to Tom's meeting room on the 2nd floor, entering the room and looking around frantically until you locked eyes with Tom.
Star, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be at the studio.
Haz texted me to come home right away because you needed me. He's probably on his way here. He said he'd pick Millie up, but that I needed to hurry home. Tom stiffened, and it seemed like the air had been sucked out of his lungs.
Haz was in an accident last night. I was just warned about it an hour ago. His phone wasn't at the scene.
You felt your own body go rigid. Tom, what are you saying?
He's not the one that texted you.